Meow meow, you nasty freaks. Onyx Fortuitous here. Welcome to my audio commentary for the film Pumpkinhead. I had nothing to do with the making of the film, but I did have something to do with the enjoyment of the film. So go ahead and rent the movie on Amazon or iTunes or pumpkinheadfilm.geocities.com. And I have mine queued up. The MGM Lion has just faded to black. So what I'm going to do is count from 3 down to 1, and then I'm going to press play. And again, I'm in the black space between the MGM Lion and whatever comes next. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, click. First thing that I'm seeing is MGM UA logo, just to see if we're synced up. Synced up with my baddies. Y'all are my baddies. Lion Films production. I don't know if that company's done anything else. They also didn't need to. They made Pumpkinhead and then dropped the frickin' mic. Oh, Billy Blake. Right away, one of the things I love about this movie is that it just sets a mood. That fiery text burning from the pits of hell. So I'm sure all y'all know that, goddamn, that's a tight logo drop. Woo! I can feel the fire from here. Lance Henriksen, also known as the coolest dude of all time to ever be in movies and stuff and be fucking cool. But yeah, so I don't know if a lot of people know, but not to nerd-splain, Stan Winston was primarily an FX guy. You know, a lot of people know him as the guy that did like T2 and Jurassic Park and all sorts of things. This is the only film, I believe, that he's directed. And I think maybe that's why sometimes it doesn't get the respect it deserves. Because they're like, Stan Winston, you're not a director. That's kind of like calling me not a director. Being like, oh, Onyx, you're just a YouTuber. You're not a director. No, I'm fucking Stan Winston, dude. Yeah, sorry. Sorry if I broke boundaries and rearranged the definition of who I am in your mind. So, a lot of people have always said I'm like Stan Winston, you know? He gave birth to monsters. I give birth to monsters, kind of, sometimes, just in like tiny manifestations of anxiety and depression. Those are all like little monsters in my in my FX monster shop, just running around, you know, ruining my day, making me think about things I don't want to think about. You know, making me afraid of things that may or may not happen, but most likely will not. Yeah, a little depresso and little anxieto are the monsters that my brain has created. Bojan Bazelli, coolest name ever. Almost as cool as Lance Henriksen. Here's a question for everyone listening. What's your favorite Lance Henriksen movie? You know what mine is? Pumpkinhead. Did that surprise you? Here's another question. What's your favorite Stan Winston creature? Let me see if I can look up other Stan Winston creatures. Let's see. Stan Winston creations. Oh, y'all know he did the Aliens. Alien Queen and Aliens. Predator. I guess he worked on The Thing, even though I always think about that being Rob Bottin. Inspector Gadget. I take it back. My favorite Stan Winston creature is Inspector Gadget. He worked on Edward Scissorhands. And y'all know, my boy did Gnome Name Norm. Holy hell. He directed Gnome Name Norm. This is news to me. I thought Pumpkinhead was the only film he ever directed. Oh my god. Y'all just were a party to me getting my mind absolutely blown. A Gnome Named Norm, 1990. Oh. Starring the one and only Anthony Michael Hall. Norm is just an average gnome who lives underground, but he wants to impress another gnome romantically by doing something heroic. He takes the lumen, a stone that must be brought to the surface called Upworld, by the gnomes to be exposed to the sun to recharge it. When he gets to the surface, he witnesses a murder and the killer ends up with the lumen. Detective Casey, Anthony Michael Hall, who was working a sting operation with the murdered man, is blamed for botching the sting, and the man's death. Wanting to catch the killer to clear his own name, he accidentally discovers Norm, and they team up. God damn. Maybe I should make this commentary a double feature between Pumpkinhead and a gnome named Norm. Alright, I'm supposed to be talking about Pumpkinhead. I'm sorry. So in a gnome named Norm, sorry. What I love about the intro of this movie is that it just immediately gives you the mythology of the world. You're thrown into the action. I think that's always smart with creature films and horror films. Start off with something that just kicks you in the face, and then you can slow it down after the prologue. Whenever I think of Pumpkinhead, I think about the colors orange and blue. The mashup of the fire inside that cabin and this man running for his life in the bluest of bluest moonlights. Cornfield. Oh, if you can hear sirens, I'm sorry. That's probably a gnome named Norm and his human partner, Detective Gallagher, coming to arrest me for not knowing that a gnome named Norm was also directed by Stan Winston. And you know what? They should arrest me. I should be locked up. I should be put in jail for not knowing Stan Winston directed Pumpkinhead and a gnome named Norm. I'm ashamed and disgusted in myself. Huh. I might flagellate myself later, actually. I'm recording this on a Sunday, and y'all know what they say. Sundays are for flagellation. Maybe if they ever make a new Pumpkinhead movie, they can make it a crossover between Pumpkinhead and a gnome named Norm. Hell, and Anthony Michael Hall. They should have his character from Halloween team up with Norm, the gnome, named Norm, from Gnome Named Norm, and then Pumpkinhead from Pumpkinhead, the film, and they should all three have to fight crime, or recharge the Lumen Stone, or whatever bullshit he had to do in the first one. Or, Anthony Michael Hall discovers that the only way to defeat Pumpkinhead, once you've raised the spirit of vengeance, is to find the Lumen Stone. Hold on. I think I'm having a breakthrough of sorts. Anthony Michael Hall, the detective character, Detective Gallagher, okay? In the present day, 2025, okay? His family is killed by a criminal that he put away, okay? Like Cape Fear style. So we got Detective Gallagher having a Cape Fear style setup, okay? He is so distraught by the loss of his family that he seeks revenge by going to an old witch who gives him the tiny little pumpkin baby seed that he's got to bury and raise, ultimately, as a son of his own. Then he does, but he learns, spoiler alert, that if you're the one that gave Pumpkinhead power, you ultimately will become him by the end of the film, or by the end of your story, because they don't know they're in a film. Hey, goddamn, Lance Henderson's hot as shit. So when he realizes he's going to lose his soul to Pumpkinhead, okay, he's got to find Gnome named Norm to help him figure out a way to get out of this cursed cycle. Norm has to team up with Gallagher yet again to break his ties with the spirit of vengeance, Pumpkinhead. Okay, Hollywood, where's my check? Where's my check, Hollywood? Is it in the mail? Hold on, let me check my mailbox. Let me get my keys. Let me open up my mailbox to see if anything's in there. Oh, yeah, there's just some big fatty check from Hollywood. How much is it for? $5.5 million to buy your idea of a gnome named Norm Pumpkinhead crossover legacy sequel. The offer is to write and direct, and you will play Norm's human brother? Where do I sign? Is there a contract here, too? Yes, there's a contract. All right, hold on. Gotta get a pen. And then I have to click the pen to get the ballpoint tip of the pen out. And now I'm signing it. The contract. My big Hollywood contract for my gnome named Norm Pumpkinhead crossover legacy sequel starring me and Anthony Michael Hall. Signed. And now I'm going to put it back in an envelope. And I'm going to lick the envelope to seal it shut. And now I'm going to seal it shut. Put it back in my mailbox for the postman to pick up tomorrow. Whoo! Well, y'all didn't know you were going to be witnessing Hollywood history by listening to this commentary, did y'all? Let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes for both Pumpkinhead and Gnome Named Norm. Huh. In true Howard the Duck form, the gnome makes out with a human. He's new in town and never had sex before. That happens in Gnome Named Norm? This person thought they were clever. The name says it y'all. Name spelled G-N-A-M-E. Actually, that is kind of funny. Here's a question. Trivia. Who plays the voice of Norm? And if y'all know, I'm going to be real embarrassed. Gnome named Norm. Norm is voiced by Craig Caton. Oh, no, these are the puppeteers. Rob Paulson. Rob Paulson is the voice of Norm. Rob Paulson is Yakko from Animaniacs and Donatello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he's Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. God damn. That gnome cast was stacked. All right, let's read a couple more reviews of Gnome Named Norm. I wish I could leave less than half a star. If you were forcing me to have to leave some bit of a star, give me the option to leave it at 0.001. I watched this for a university class, and it made me want to drop out of school then and there. I didn't drop out, but I changed my major to engineering because none of those classes would ever put on such a pathetic movie. What class were you studying? What class at university made you watch Gnome Named Norm? I think you might have been going to a fake school. Was that the University of Phoenix? Well, you almost got your degree, but you didn't finish watching Gnome Named Norm. I don't even think a creature designing class would make you watch Gnome Named Norm, or a filmmaking class, or a history of gnome and human team-up film class would make you watch Gnome Named Norm. I think if you were taking a class on Anthony Michael Hall's filmography, from Weird Science to Halloween Kills, I think they'd skip Gnome Named Norm. Was your class being taught by Norm? Was Norm hoping to gain more fans by teaching a class where students were forced to watch his film? This reviewer says it's a cosmic mix of the buddy films of the 80s combined with the film noir of the 70s, but with fantastical touches. It's quite ridiculous, but it knows what it is. It's a little bit Teddy Rex, definitely a little bit Ed. It's kind of a cosmic gumbo. It almost moves to the beat of jazz. Wow. All right, I never thought I'd describe a gnome named Norm as being jazz-like, but hey, to each their own. That's Alex S. on Rotten Tomatoes. All right, now let's look up some Pumpkinhead reviews. If anyone says this movie's bad, I'm going to leave them a comment that says they can fuck off. Good imagery, creeps, an interesting plot rooted in the world of fairy tales and the Southern Gothic, all sure to please most horror lovers out there. Okay. Okay. I'll see your tomato. I'll see your tomato. C.H. Newell, I'll see your tomato. This movie is still above most of its peers and worth a watch by all horror fans. Okay. I see you, Michelle. I see you, Michelle Kistner, with your tomato. With your fresh-ass tomato. Here's a review from the Daily Dead. Amongst a sea of sequels and remakes that year, Stan Winston's tragic and terrifying backwoods fairy tale stood out as something wholly unique and also gave us some incredible character development by way of Henriksen's tragic character. I like seeing these fresh tomatoes. This person said it's all done in such a dislocated, hectic style that it's sometimes difficult to tell what's happening. Oh, that's not true. That sounds like a you problem. If you can't follow what's happening in Pumpkinhead, I think maybe that's a you problem. Here's some trivia for y'all. Young Blossom, Mayim Bialik, is in this little crew of Southern kids. I think that's her on the left. I think that was her. I actually find that I know people can laugh at this and be like, oh, it's an 80s movie and everyone's dressed so cheesy and they're all on their, dirt bikes and that's how the kid gets killed, etc., etc. But I actually think the characters are more nuanced than they would be in a lot of 80s movies that would have kind of had a bucket of the same ingredients, but utilized differently. Also, the production design is sick. Lance Henriksen insisted on wearing those fake front teeth, which I'm kind of like, okay. Don't know if that was necessary, but at the same time, it adds some cool iconography when Pumpkinhead and him start kind of switching bodies or combining into one entity, because then you get like little buck-toothed Pumpkinhead for a split second, and I'm like, oh, he's cute. One of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes calls it a routine horror film. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you need a routine slap in the face, my guy. Not really sure what's routine about Pumpkinhead. Sometimes I think critics should have to explain themselves instead of just like slapping up little sassy headlines. Actually, unpack it. Routine horror film. Moving on. No, how about we don't move on, Josh? How about we don't move on, Josh Rowski? Huh? How about we don't move on? Routine horror film. What's routine about Pumpkinhead? What's routine about Pumpkinhead? Is Lance Henriksen's performance routine? You see a lot of performances with that amount of depth and nuance and character in 80s monster movies. You see a lot of that, huh? A lot of horror movies about a group of rambunctious teens that accidentally kill a child. Huh? A lot of horror movies about an ancient witch that lives in the woods and has the secret key to unlocking a pumpkin-themed demon of vengeance. Is that kind of routine? Huh? A little routine for you? Too routine for you, Josh? Josh wants something new and different. Josh wants Malignant. What did Josh say about Malignant? Let's see what Josh said about Malignant. Let's see what Josh Rowski said about the new Wolfman movie. Huh. I guess he didn't say anything. Yeah, he didn't say anything about Wolfman either. Sorry for trolling you, Josh. I'd go to Letterboxd to look up reviews of Pumpkinhead and Gnome Named Norm, but Letterboxd gives me anxiety because there's people on Letterboxd that talk about my movie, and a lot of those people on Letterboxd, they think they're cinephiles when they're actually, what's the word? Doo-doo heads. So, yeah. So sometimes I don't like going to Letterboxd because I get a little shudder. I get a little chill down my spine. Because I'm worried I'm going to see what one of those doo-doo heads thinks about my movie. And they're going to be like, neckbeard, incel, neckbeard, poo-poo joke. Oh, yeah? Would somebody that traffics in poo-poo jokes call you a doo-doo head? I don't think so. They'd probably call you a poo-poo head. But I switched it up. Yeah, why? Because I'm a trope breaker. Huh? I'm a genre defier. Huh? I'm a boundary breaker. Poo poo head? Nah. Doo doo head? Pfft, yeah. I gotta be honest. It's kind of hard to stop thinking about Gnome Named Norm, but I'm gonna try. Man, what if Gnome Named Norm was riding one of those dirt bikes? Okay, no, I'll stop it. For real, I'll stop it. I think this is a really well shot and edited scene. I think they did a good job of kind of ramping up the tension and making me feel the moment of impact just through the edits. And it also shows that the group of teenagers weren't just all like crazy 80s bullies. Some of them were nice. Some of them were trying to help this little kid. There's definitely like a fracturing of the group that leads to more tension throughout the film. That was a great shot. Sick slow-mo. Bad boy. That's a pretty hard sequence to make convincing, and I know it doesn't do the best job, but it definitely does better than a lot of things in the 80s were done. Plus, you have that added sadness coming from the dog that loved that little boy. Again, if you don't think Pumpkinhead rips, GTFO. SMD and GTFO, MF. LMAO. That dude immediately is like, I'm out. Yeah, no, I'm out. I wonder if Stan Winston ever did interviews about what his approach was to directing this, because it definitely doesn't feel like it's directed by someone that hasn't directed before. I'm sure he had every department head and technician that he wanted around him, but it still feels like a very confidently directed film. I might form an a cappella group to honor the memory of Stan Winston and call it the Stan Winstones. And yeah, we just kind of like sing a cappella songs about Stan Winston creatures. Scratch that. We mostly sing a cappella songs about Gnome Named Norm. He's a gnome named Norm, and he's partnered with Detective Gallagher. He's a gnome named Norm, and he's partnered with Detective Gallagher. I think that would be a way to honor Stan Winston's legacy. Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. Well, SMD GTFO MF. Things are about to get real spicy. Always thought it was pretty hardcore that this one guy was like, I'll stay here and talk to the dad. I mean, that's got to be the toughest job. Oh, just looking at Lance Henriksen, you can imagine he smells like cigarettes, motor oil, and beef jerky. And I ain't got a problem with it. I think these performances are great. The actors aren't giving 80s schlock. I think they're giving real emotion. That's why when I bring up how this is one of my favorite monster movies of all time, and people kind of LOL, I don't get it. I'm like, LOL, where's the joke, fool? Also, how gentle Lance is when he's touching his son, because he knows he might be injured, doesn't want to hurt him, but also has to put his hands on him to cradle the child that he loves. Giving him the glasses. God damn, this movie rips. The real surprise is going to be when I watch Gnome Named Norm and it's just as good. How slow he's walking. That's an actor decision right there. This is a great look. Get ready. Oh, y'all are about to meet Pumpkinhead. He's running fast because he's urgently trying to help his son, but he doesn't want to hurt him any more than he's already been injured. What an actor decision. Slow, gentle, careful, but urgent run. That's why Lance Henriksen's one of the best. It would have been cool if Lance Henriksen played Bartok in my movie, but he probably would have kicked my ass. And I would have liked it. Also, it's smart to have some of the teenagers, like I said before, want to make the right decisions. It'd be a hard thing to justify that they all want to try and get away with this horrible act. But the fact that the main bad boy is the one that's not going to let it happen, it makes sense. It tracks. Plus, he's got a cool leather jacket and camo pants, so I wouldn't fuck with him. Y'all would? Okay. Y'all got some balls I don't have. I mean, you're evil. You're evil. Huh? What? Yo. Oh, you know who is going to find out about it? Pumpkinhead. Probably rather deal with the police over Pumpkinhead. That'd be a good challenge. Who would you rather run into? The police or Pumpkinhead? Actually, I guess my answer would be Pumpkinhead. Wrecking dudes. I do wonder, at this point, what's his plan? Is his plan to just, like, keep killing people, kill all of his friends, or, like, I mean, he can't keep them quiet forever. Eventually, they're going to get to a house that does have a phone line. Eventually, they're going to get to another town where there is a police station. Is he just going to keep whacking people over the head with logs? I tell you who wouldn't stand for this? Gnome Named Norm. Yeah, Gnome Named Norm would bring all these guys to justice. Now, you're going to look at this upcoming shot and try to tell me that it's not beautiful as shit? Since when do you get a shot like this in a gritty 80s creature feature? That looks like a motherfucking painting! Beautiful, sad, somber, unnerving, disturbing, full of grief, terror, dread, and yet beauty. Oh, okay. I'm crying. I mean, real men cry during Pumpkinhead. I bet you Andrew Tate doesn't cry during Pumpkinhead. But I do. Let's fantasy cast a Pumpkinhead remake if it had to be the exact same plot. I would say the Lance Henriksen role would be played by Timothy Oliphant. I'd say the main bad boy would be played by Jacob Elordi. The good kid that stuck around to talk to Lance Henriksen, he'd be played by Adam Devine. I would play that pig that just got walked across the screen. And I'd have a great time doing it. That's Conan O'Brien. JK. The part of this kid that helps Lance Henriksen get to the witch in the woods would be played by the kid from Manchester by the Sea. All the goats would be CG. I think I'd want all the goats and the chickens to be CG. But probably CG motion capture, like how they make the Planet of the Apes movies. So yeah, all the goats would be Andy Serkis. And the chickens would all be played by James Gunn's brother. I'm looking for an old woman too. Oh! How about now? You know where that old lady is now? I think he kind of wants to go straight to hell. Look how upset he is. Oh, yeah, that's the kid from Manchester by the Sea. If I could cross over with any movie monsters, of course, other than Gnome Named Norm and Pumpkinhead, I'd probably have to say Rawhead Rex. Yeah, me and Rawhead Rex would have a fun time. I'm just thinking about it now and I'm just laughing. Yeah, Rawhead. Rawhead, you dog. Oh, the mess we'd get into. Me and Rawhead. I'll probably do like Malort shots with Rawhead Rex. Can you imagine? Oh, hey, Rawhead, pass me that Malort. We get so wild. We'd probably wind up in jail for causing too much of a ruckus, a Rawhead ruckus. Oh, that'd be the name of our movie if I teamed up with him. Onyx the Fortuitous and the Rawhead Ruckus. I'm going to start writing that tonight when I'm done recording this commentary. And I'll probably just do a bunch of coke and stay up and finish it by the time the sun rises. I did it. I got a draft done of Rawhead Ruckus. Who wants to read it? Oh, nobody? Cool. And then I'll just go to sleep for 3 days. We call that the Hollywood lifestyle. I actually heard that Rawhead Rex stopped getting work because he was partying too hard. They said he was kind of like the Belushi of that crew. That's a fun game. Let's assign 80s monster movies to the original cast of SNL. Belushi's Rawhead Rex. Freddy Krueger's Freddy Krueger's Dan Aykroyd. Pinhead as Chevy Chase. When the monster is born, it's one of my favorite sequences in any creature feature. Once again, I just think the movie's really well shot, covered, and cut together. Ed Harley. I love the idea that she just sits there at her fire, just waiting for people to come by and ask her to raise the dead. Kind of a baller lifestyle. Anyway, Gilda Radner would be the redheaded zombie from Return of the Living Dead. Jane Curtin would be the woman in Hellraiser, who's like really hot, but always like dressed like a businesswoman, and I don't know, it makes me think about things. Really, I kind of just get a little lost, and I think, yeah, I think about things. Look at those tarantulas. Those look like Mexican red meat tarantulas. Razorback Hollow. That's the name of an emo band I was in back in the early aughts. You'll know because it's going to look like a wickedly cool designed, like, pumpkin patch graveyard. I love pumpkins so much. When we made my movie, I was like, can we get some more pumpkins in the graveyard? And they were like, okay, you maniac. You pumpkin fiend. I said, I'm sorry I'm causing such a rawhead ruckus. We got 2 pumpkins. Wouldn't it be cool to go to a first date? Go on a first date at Razorback Hollow? With Lance Henriksen or with somebody else. I think just in general, what a vibe. Maybe drink some moonshine on top of Pumpkinhead's grave. Oh! Razorback Hollow. Just you, me. Tall bottle of moonshine. Nothing but dead leaves and vines and skeletons as far as the eye can see. Sorry if I'm turning you on. This audio commentary just became an erotic ASMR voiceover. It's just you, me, Razorback Hollow, a tall bottle of moonshine, and some smooches on your neck, your jaw, and your chinny chin chin. Huh. Oh, look, what's that? Some skelebones? Why don't I pick up one of those bones and trace it up and down your body as you breathe in and out. Your chest heaving as you do so. Now, let's both just close our eyes and think about sweaty Lance Henriksen. God damn, that's a cool shot. You give me pumpkins and fog, and I'm hard as a rock. Sorry, y'all. Did I tell you this commentary was going to be rated R? Oh. That was my reaction to the shovel going into the dirt. So if we're not synced up, you'll know how to find the right spot. Lance Henriksen's one of those guys that's been losing his hair forever, but it's a good look on him. Kind of like Jude Law, Bruce Willis, Andrew Bowser. You gotta dig for that pumpkin, baby. I wish that maggot-covered pumpkin baby was a prop I could buy. Oh, it's so putrid he tumbled down the pumpkin hill. It'd be great if he did the whole spell with the witch, and then when the creature rose to life, it was just a gnome named Norm. Oh, I don't think you should sit with a shotgun resting on your own forehead, my guy. That's actually a good solution. The nice boy being like, let's just say I did it. I don't know why Big Bad Jacob Elordi dude was like, nah, that's a good plan. Go with that plan. Y'all don't realize the other option is Pumpkinhead. I have always wondered if these kids were to leave town and go to a big city, but the Pumpkinhead curse was already inflicted upon them, would Pumpkinhead have to travel to the city? Which brings me to my next pitch. Pumpkinhead in the big city. Pumpkinhead, demon in the big city. The subtitle for Babe is just Pig in the City, right? It's not even like Pig Lost in the City or like Pig in the Big City. It's just Pig in the City. And that's interesting enough. Just what if a pig were in a city? Can y'all imagine the hijinks? I can. Because I love Babe Pig in the City. Is that the sequel? Oh, yeah. 1998 sequel to the 1995 movie, Babe. Man, Lance Henriksen's really going through it. This ritual is making him trip balls. That sizzle of a fresh new Pumpkinhead being brought to life. Oh, the best part of waking up is Pumpkinhead in your cup. Oh, crickle crack. Snap, crackle, and pop. This is my favorite sequence in the film when Pumpkinhead comes to life. I love the way they stitch together the footage of baby Pumpkinhead growing and growing and eventually standing up tall as full-blown mature Pumpkinhead. That shadow on the wall. Come on now. Oh, teenager Pumpkinhead. Little Pumpkinhead Jr. Big bad Papa Pumpkinhead. Mm. Ha! The witch is like, okay, GTFO, SMD, MF. Dang, that ritual really took it out of him. He's like driving home drunk. Maybe take a breather, Ed Harley. Maybe drink some water. Huh? That's a good plan, too. This guy's full of good plans. Let's just go to Mexico. Which brings me to my next pitch Pumpkinhead in Mexico. Little bit of trivia for y'all. How many Pumpkinhead films have there been? If you said 4, you'd be correct. Pumpkinhead 1988, Pumpkinhead Ashes to Ashes in 2006, Pumpkinhead Blood Feud 2007. Oh, before that, Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings 1994. Does he actually get wings in Pumpkinhead 2? I think in order for him to go to Mexico, he'd have to get wings. We got our first Pumpkinhead kill of the movie. Well, technically second if you count the intro. I love how quickly they established the rule that Lance Henriksen is linked to the demon. He can see the damage that he's causing. I think a cool replica to have would be the necklace that Lance Henriksen wears that his son made him. I'd like to buy one of those at a horror convention. This guy's acting awfully chill for someone who's murdered a child, and all of his friends want him dead. Lock the door. I like how Pumpkinhead's method of killing is just tossing a dude up against a tree over and over again until maybe he dies. There's got to be a more efficient way to go about that, P-Head. What you looking for? That anti-Pumpkinhead oats? Huh. I guess that character's religious all of a sudden. I don't know if they foreshadowed that or established that at all. That's tight. Pumpkinhead just moving past the window. My boner's back. My pumpkin patch and fog boner is back. At this point, I wonder if the characters are thinking that an angry mob from the town is after them, or the dad. There's just so much style to this movie. Here comes one of the best parts. When Pumpkinhead pushes her up against the window. You're the one with the gun. Go after Pumpkinhead. Just yelling at people to get back inside the house. Oh, hell yeah. Poster image. Oh, hell yeah. Maybe throw her into the tree a couple times now, Pumpkinhead. Toss her around a bit. Can you imagine trying to drive while your mind is melding with a demon of vengeance? That's got to be illegal. That's worse than driving buzzed. They should make some PSAs. Driving while psychically linked to a demon of vengeance is worse than driving buzzed. Stay safe out there. Click it or ticket. Oh, yeah. Come crawling back, Ed Harley. Surprise, surprise. Stuff didn't go as planned with the demon of vengeance you raised. Not like this, not like this. One of my favorite lines. He is so good in this. Sorry, that was just Andrew talking, but goddamn, Lance Henriksen is good in this. Okay, it's me again. He's so good. I'm getting swept up in how cool Pumpkinhead is, but here comes the best part. Even though I already said when he's being brought to life is the best part, this is the other best part. And then once he enters the church toward the finale, that's the other best part. Pumpkinhead has a lot of best parts, but that's great. Dang, just passed out. That'd be me in that situation. Imagine gnome named Norm just pulling up on a dirt bike. Let's go, bitches. Freaking tight. Pumpkinhead's like, sorry, I'm so tight. Ooh. Pumpkinhead's always dragging people around by their heads. Here's another question for a possible Pumpkinhead sequel. Can there be multiple Pumpkinheads at once? The witch said that was the graveyard pumpkin patch where they would bury, like, inbred children. Are there multiple corpses there that could all be raised by multiple different people seeking vengeance at the same time? And then you've had, well, my next pitch, which is Pumpkinhead Squad. Damn. Pumpkinhead is just wrecking people left and right. He's like, huh. Yeah, I think Pumpkinhead's maybe been here and killed a couple of people. Yeah, for sure he has. Dang, that was the nice boy. He pulls back the sleeping bag and it's just a deceased gnome named Norm. Not like this, Norm. Not like this. God damn you, Norm. Oh, my boner's back because of the moonlit, fog covered woods. And I tell you one thing once Pumpkinhead steps into that broken down, desolate church at the end, yeah, my boner's coming back. I wonder if once Pumpkinhead is brought to life, if the town gets like a notification, how do they know to keep their doors locked and stay in, like Lance Henriksen's family at the top of the movie? Unless they all just kind of feel it in their blood? Or do they get like an alert on their phones? A little Pumpkinhead alert? He's out there tonight. Keep it locked up, keep it tight. Hang your chickens up. Don't open the door for any screaming, panicked teenagers. Well, this guy's out and about. Go on, get. We got something chasing us. It's some kind of pumpkin head. Marked by that tall, dark, and handsome motherfucker right there. I wish the sound of cicadas just filled the room whenever I walked in. Hey, what's up, y'all? Onyx here. I think it's Tom Woodruff in the suit, an amazing creature designer and performer. And if I'm correct, Tom Woodruff also played the Gill Man in Monster Squad. So, yeah, he's pretty much an MVP in my eyes. Yeah, go up and kick it. Yeah, no, for sure. Go over and kick it. Yeah, right, dude. You're dead, bitch. Sorry, Pumpkinhead gets me sassy. Pumpkinhead gets me sassy and saucy. A little gassy, too. Pumpkinhead holding a rifle is the tightest thing ever. Oh, is he going to shoot the guy? Nah, he's going to stab him with a gun. That's how Pumpkinhead rolls. There's also, like, electrical sounds, which I think is cool. It sounds like there's a live wire. Not like this. Not like this. Pumpkinhead's kind of playing with his food. He's like, huh. His head drops funny. Hey, Andrew, did you want to say anything? Oh, yeah, thanks, Onyx. Yeah, I wanted to say that one of my first meetings in LA was actually with the Stan Winston Company. I don't know why we met with them. We'd made a kind of funny superhero parody short film, and I think they were still looking to like finance projects at the time. And in their big meeting room, they had, the Terminator, a Velociraptor, and they had a statue of like every creation of Stan Winston, and then they had Pumpkinhead. And before we left the meeting, the Stan Winston exec was like, "Do you want a picture with any of the monsters before you go?" And I said, "Yeah, Pumpkinhead." And he said, "Nobody ever asks for a picture with Pumpkinhead." I gotta find that picture. God, it must have been like 2006 or 7. But meeting Pumpkinhead for me was like meeting Elvis. Anyway, Onyx, you can take back over because we're heading into the finale here. Oh, yeah, no doubt. That's pretty cool that you got to meet Pumpkinhead, though. Kind of makes me jealous. Jelly dog. I'm a jelly dog. If I could make an Onyx sequel where he started to blend with Pumpkinhead, that would be so cool. The way Pumpkinhead starts looking like Lance Henriksen towards the end. If Pumpkinhead started to look like me. Can you imagine Pumpkinhead being like, "Oh, I don't know. Being a demon of vengeance is pretty cool." But they give him like a big old monster schlong. And people are like, well, if Pumpkinhead is becoming Onyx, and Onyx is becoming Pumpkinhead, and Pumpkinhead has a monster schlong, is that Pumpkinhead's schlong? Or is he inheriting Onyx's giant schlong? The answer is it's my giant schlong. The kid from Manchester by the Sea to the rescue. Well, don't immediately be angry at the kid who's trying to help you. I love how he's like, I know somewhere that might be safe. The creepiest old graveyard and abandoned church. But I guess he thinks that they might be safe because it's a church. It's holy. Too bad for y'all. Pumpkinhead don't give a shit. Pumpkinhead's agnostic. I have an idea for an Onyx movie called Onyx the Fortuitous and the Unholy Reckoning. It's after the events of the sequel, which is Onyx the Fortuitous and the Legend of Carpathia. Basically, in the sequel, Onyx upsets God and the devil and causes an unholy war between them. So in the third one, the devil and God both come to Earth and do battle for the souls of humanity. This kid's great. I'm about to look him up and see what else he's done. Swear to God, if he's in Gnome Named Norm. This actor is Brian Bremer. He's been in a lot. He's in Society. He's in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. He's in Test Tube Teens from the year 2000. He was on that TV show House of Pain and the TV show Meet the Browns. And most recently, he did a voice in the movie Piglet Rising. All right, let's get ready for the tightest shot in the movie. If y'all are nasty. Oh, yeah, boy. What do you think about that cross, Pumpkinhead? What do you think about it? You scared of it? Ah, you don't like it? Oh, there it is, tightest shot. Pumpkinhead says, nah. He likes bashing things against wood. Goddamn you, goddamn you. He's got to be from something, too. That guy looks so familiar. Oh, Oh, that's famous character actor George Buck Flower. You kidding me? Starman, They Live, Back to the Future. Power Rangers in space? Tammy and the T-Rex? George Buck Flower was in Munchie. Here's a question. Is Munchie different than Munchies? Munchie singular. Is that different than Munchies plural? Let's do a deep dive. Munchies came first. Munchie was 5 years later. They are not related, not connected. Hey, Mr. Harley, Pumpkinhead's real. Oh, yeah. I know. Thanks for the update, idiot. Get in, but not like this. Not like this. We're going to go see someone. The only person that could help. He's a gnome named Norm. That music almost sounds like the cue from Princess Bride. Let's see who did the music for Pumpkinhead. It's got a great score. Hmm. Scored by Richard Stone, who worked on Witness, Animaniacs, and Dolores Claiborne. People are like, "Oh, hey, Ed Harley, you had too much bourbon today?" Nah, I psychically linked myself with a demon of vengeance. Oh, same difference. Hey, throw that guy. Oh, I wanted him to throw him on the table. Pumpkinhead's at his best when he's tossing fools. If I ever got to make a Pumpkinhead movie, a lot of fools would be getting tossed. A lot of places. Through doors, windows, floors. Pumpkinhead is literally in the house. Which brings me to my next pitch. A sitcom called Pumpkinhead in the House. Where Pumpkinhead has to live with a gnome named Norm. And it's kind of like a Perfect Strangers, like Balky and Coulson Larry kind of situation. Uh-oh. Lance Henriksen, demon mode. But instead of like, Balky being from Meatbos, it's about Pumpkinhead being from hell. And gnome named Norm is kind of like the straight man. He's kind of like the cousin Larry. Who's got like a regular job, like a blue collar job. And Pumpkinhead's always just messing stuff up. He's just a goof. He's always tripping over things and like breaking things. And there's an episode where like gnome named Norm and Pumpkinhead have to run an antique shop together, and like Pumpkinhead's just breaking all the antiques, and like there's glass and porcelain pieces everywhere. Yeah, and then he kills a bunch of people too. I love the look of Pumpkinhead when he starts to fuse with Ed Harley. Like humanoid Pumpkinhead. Let's recap all of our pitches. We've got the gnome named Norm Pumpkinhead crossover legacy sequel with Anthony Michael Hall having to team up with gnome named Norm to defeat Pumpkinhead because a drug cartel leader kills Anthony Michael Hall's family. He raises Pumpkinhead to get vengeance on the cartel, but then realizes that he's linked to Pumpkinhead, so he needs, for some reason, a gnome named Norm to help him break the spell. Pitch number 1, golden. Absolutely golden. Solid. No flaws. Pitch number 2 was Pumpkinhead in the big city. And it's kind of like a remake, retelling, Evil Dead 2 version of Pumpkinhead, where the teens do get out of the rural area and they make their way to the city. They think they're safe, but Pumpkinhead caught a train, y'all. And he's there. He doesn't travel by boat like Jason, and Jason Takes Manhattan. But you do have a long sequence of Pumpkinhead just quietly riding an Amtrak train. And it's a 56-hour train ride from wherever in the deep south this happens to the big city. Ironically, Pumpkinhead in the big city is the cheapest of all of the pitches to make because it's mostly the train ride. You get to see Pumpkinhead try to recline in the Amtrak seats. You get to see him go to the snack car and see if they've got Fritos. Part Pumpkinhead, all Henriksen. Part of me wonders if it was Lance's decision to have them fall in the exact same position. That feels like an actor's intuition, and it's tight. I forget, did they pull out wide enough to where you see him and Pumpkinhead in the same shot? Hell yeah. Look at that tableau. Oh, hell yeah. This movie rips. Anyway, my other pitch is Pumpkinhead goes to Mexico. And I forget what the reason was behind that pitch. I think it was the same as Pumpkinhead in the big city, except instead of the kids fleeing to a city, they flee to Mexico. That one is mostly Pumpkinhead on the plane. At the start of the film, he actually gets on the wrong plane, and so he winds up in San Diego, and then he's got to get a second flight to Mexico. And a lot of people are like, why are you taking so long dealing with the Pumpkinhead air travel mix-up? But for me, that builds tension and character. And you get to see how Pumpkinhead reacts in like different everyday stressful situations that you or I would experience. So I think that's actually like high cinema. It's Ed Harley's body. Now he will become the next Pumpkinhead. The circle is complete. And this movie has fucking ripped. Well, the credits have begun. Let's all vibe out to the Pumpkinhead end credits theme song. Surprisingly sexy, or perfectly sexy. You decide. Oh, the credits stopped on my Amazon Prime and it went to prom night. I wanted to vibe out to the whole sexy credits song. Well, all right, that's my Pumpkinhead commentary. I think we learned a lot. We learned a lot about a gnome named Norm. We learned a lot about all the different variations of a Pumpkinhead sequel, prequel, remake, or retelling that could be explored. If anyone were to give me, I don't know, $70 to $110 million, because that's what they would all cost. And we also learned a lot about the character actor, Brian Brenner. Was that his name? Brian Brenner and Buck Flower. I've already forgotten their names, but they're in a bunch of movies I love. But none do I love as much as I love my sweet boy, Pumpkinhead. Meow meow and good night.